Hey, it's Bruce Parker. Another week's gone by. I was looking at some information. I may have mentioned it in the past, but I'm going to bring it up again because I think it's very, very relevant. And that is this. In the United States, 25% of our gross national product, now what that means is that's the amount of money that's made by the United States, the income of the United States government, 25% of that amount is $3.5 trillion is made from, we'll call it the story. Entertainment, music, books, literature, anything that has to do with telling a story is 25% of the income made in the United States. Pretty powerful stuff. And if you look back in chiropractic, as long as I have been around, I've always heard people say, to build your practice, tell the story. And yet no one does. It seems like for many, many years we've been talking about the sperm and the ovum meet and that begins life, but it's not really making much difference in the world. What's really happening is 1.45% of the population is using chiropractic and we're not telling the story. A lot of people say they don't want to tell a story. They don't want to have to do any lectures or talks. But the point being is, if 25% of the annual income of the government is from telling a story, I don't know, maybe it'd be a good idea, right? That we could start thinking about that. Now, you don't have to stand in front of an audience to tell a story. You don't have to, you can be knee to knee, just talking to one-on-one. You can tell a story now and put it on the internet. You can tell a story and make a training video out of it. But the point being is, we got to start telling the story to get our practices moving from that of a treatment facility into one of a health facility. Now, today, I watched Dr. Fabrizio Mancini on the Dr. Phil show. And certainly, I would love to have more talk on chiropractic, but what I loved about this program today was we were able to show chiropractic in a whole different light. It was presented more of a holistic inside out, talking about the nervous system, talking about healings and natural. It was the first time I'd seen chiropractic presented in the public as not something for a treatment facility or a treatment program. So I was really excited. And in fact, right below here, well, no, you have to X out of YouTube, and because I know this takes you over to YouTube, X out of YouTube, back to the newsletter, and right below my video slot there'll be a little thing saying, congratulations, Dr. Fab. You can click on the link right there and you can buy his book. Buy the book for yourself, buy the book for your patients. A lot of people I think he's got some special deal if you buy a dozen at a time to give to your patients. He gets a little bit discounted off that. But you know what? Finally, we're in the public not talking about backaches and neck sprains. It's fantastic. I love it. So that's the issue right now. I want you to start figuring out, what is your story? What could you make about your life interesting to the people you see, that when you tell them, they'll get pulled in. They'll get pulled into understanding what it is you do and why you do it. Now, I wrote my book recently, The Social Outcast, and it tells the story of, I was injured at 13 years old. And I got one adjustment. And I felt better. Now, that was weeks later, but I did the drug thing, and finally they tried, as a last resort, they tried chiropractic, or back then it was chiropractic. But we tried one adjustment, I felt better, and I went on through my life. For the next 6 years, I degenerated. This chiropractor didn't evaluate me, didn't do any types of scans, no x-rays, no nothing. He gave me one adjustment and that was it. And I was having problems. I was sick. I had neurological tics. You can see I can't sit still as it is. Maybe it's part of why I had ADD all the time. But my point being is that, I had challenges. And that gave me social challenges. I had tics and facial tics, and I was always, trying to do those things, and people looked at me like I was weird. I started developing Bell's palsy, and I started drooling. I mean, it wasn't cool. And I went to another chiropractor. And this next chiropractor, long story, it's all in the book. Buy the book, it's good. Or if you're a client of mine, just send me an email, say you want to read the book, and I'll send you a copy. But the point being is that right now, if, when I got rediscovered chiropractic at 18 years old, I learned about chiropractic, and the first person I referred was an asthmatic. The second person I referred was a woman that never had natural menses. The third person I referred in there, person that was having, migraine headaches, taking drugs and operating heavy equipment all day. So, that's what chiropractic was back then. It still is. It's a healing process. And get the story out. Now, I put the story together mainly so people could actually understand as a doctor. I wrote this book so as a doctor you can understand what it's like to be sick. Most of you have never been sick. And how it's tough socially. How people make fun of you. Try going to a chiropractor, especially back in the 60s. When I started going back to the chiropractor, people make fun of you. You're doing what? You're going where? They're going to snap your neck and you're going to be healthy? What's up with this stuff? I mean, I fought it every day just to be a patient. And then in the 70s, I became a chiropractor and went out and took my message to the world. And it wasn't just received with open arms. It has challenges. But the story is what bridges the gap. When people start understanding that our bodies are self-healing mechanisms, they start understanding the body is meant to be healthy, then people start getting a different opinion. But it doesn't come from the newspaper. It doesn't come from your local MD. It's not going to come from your HMO, your PIO, PPO, your EIEIO. It's going to come from you. So, start formulating a story. And I'm not telling you to speak in front of people, but communicate it to people. Communicate it to new patients. Tell them why you're a chiropractor. Tell your staff why you're a chiropractor. Let them understand, what miracles it was created. And as you do, the miracle will be created in your office will also be people will come flocking to see you. I'll see you next week.